Obi-Wan told me terrible things.
Obi-Wan is trying to turn you against me.
I love you!
Liar! You're with him!
Anakin.
Let her go, Anakin! You will not take her from me! Your anger and your lust for power have already done that. Your new empire? If you're not with me, then you're my enemy. Only a Sith deals in absolutes. I will do what I must. You will try. I have failed you, Anakin. I have failed you. I should have known the Jedi were plotting to take over. Anakin, Chancellor Palpatine is evil. From my point of view, the Jedi are evil. Well, then you are lost. It's over, Anakin. I have the high ground. You underestimate my power. Don't try it. My brother Anakin! I loved you!
Hello there, and welcome back to another episode of my Star Wars world. And that was a bit of a different start to the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed that little video there. But you may notice that most of that stuff is not actually built behind me, because we haven't actually done it yet at this point of the recording. I just decided to chuck that clip in the beginning so that you guys could get a good feel for what this episode is going to be about. I'm going to show you how all the armor stands work. And first off, we do need to build a few more things. In the last episode I lied. This fortress, or this factory behind me, is not actually finished. We need a couple of pillars up the top here and some of the little vehicles down the bottom, the droid things. And I've got a few things to work out here to actually make these scenes work, so I don't even know how it came out yet. So yeah, let's get on with building up the last bits of this mining facility.
Join me and together we can rule the algorithm as creator and sub.
Well, unfortunately, I've been ill this week. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but I've still got a bit of a blocked nose and a little bit of coughing, but we're going to have to get on with this episode anyway, so I apologise if the audio isn't great. But you can see I built up some things here, so I've got the little droids that go along the lava river. We've got a few in here, because obviously there's a few scenes, as you would have seen, and that's how I did it. I just made multiple, rather than actually just doing one and then replacing the armor stands every time. And I just tried to do the camera angles to kind of like look across it, that way you don't see the other ones in the back of the shot. Now this tower as well, you just saw me building into. Unfortunately, I could not figure out a way to get the books inside of it properly in the normal size. That's why it's kind of open at the back. I figured that wouldn't really matter because you're not really coming and looking at the back of this when you're viewing the station. You're just kind of looking from the front. And to be fair, I think I did a really good job of getting these books in here. It's just like a 1x3 and it's like upwards, which is much more difficult than doing it on a flat. The lever on the front, you do have to flick it somehow, so that's pretty difficult. I'm not even sure how I'm going to do that for the video yet, but we'll see. Now this part up here, I'm not particularly happy with these sitting on top, but it's the only way they could reach up to this for me to do the scene on the cable as they're going across. And yeah, we've got some redstone on the inside, and it's just basically, oh, can't get a good angle, there you go, just a bunch of repeaters going into some observers, and then yeah, we have the books up here. The last two things that I added in that clip was this ship here and these towers here. So this ship is actually a bit small. The real size of it is a lot bigger, so I've kind of had to go with a miniature version, which is why it's not quite as good as some of my other ones, but I really like it. I like how the little beds work for the little vents on here, and I think it really does the job, and it's the right size for the platform that I made, even though the platform's already a little bit small. And these towers as well, they're not great, they're not perfect. You can even see there's a bit of a weird gap here where those frog lights are, but to be honest, I forgot those last episode and I just wanted to add them in, and when you step back, I think it is just about the right size. They probably should be a little bit bigger looking at some of the images, but it does complete that look and just kind of brings some of the design up to the top here. But that means the exterior of this is actually finished. All we need to do now is the super smelter inside, and there is one more vehicle, of course, that we're going to be doing later in the episode, but we'll get to that soon. For now, I need to start working on all of these armor stand scenes and actually doing the books here. So I think the best place to start is just going to be at the beginning of the fight scene, and I have just realised I made a mistake. This is only one layer. I'm going to have to extend this down. Well, I've now extended down a portion of this. It's not going to look amazing, to be honest. It looks a little bit worse than what we had before, but it's the only way for me to actually get some books inside of this gap here, and there will be a big enough gap. I need to clear out some more of the deep slate there, but yeah, it was a bit annoying getting all that put in after the fact. I should have done it before, but oh well. How have I ended up in lava? There's like one line of lava and somehow I landed in it. Brilliant. But now there is one more thing that we need before I can actually get to making these armor stands, something I completely forgot about, and that is we need lightsabers and some player heads as well. So let's go and grab all these. And now it's the long task of renaming all of these. Now can I copy that? I can. Brilliant. Well, that makes it a lot easier. And we need a bunch of Anakins as well. I'm expecting my anvil to break any second. It will probably wait for the very last one, won't it? Oh, very nice. It actually let me finish them. Now there is one more thing that I wanted to do. I did just break my anvil, so I guess I'm going to have to make... Well, actually, I don't need to use that because we have these in here. So we'll take some of the unlit versions just for some points in the scenes, and we want the Obi-Wan as well. And lastly, I'm going to need the player heads. Now that is not going to be enough of the Anakin heads, and I don't even know if I have any young Obi-Wans at all. I do not. There is also another head that I can't seem to find, but I definitely got one. Alright, it's that time again to lose all my levels. I need to switch my skins and blow myself up a few times to get some of these player heads, and I'll be right back. So I have basically everything ready. I just need the armor to make the actual characters. And yeah, you might notice I've made a bunch of these netherite scraps because look, okay, this is the right pattern, but it's just too bright for it. Look, that's Anakin's armor. That is Anakin's armor. I don't, like, what else am I supposed to say about it? Which for every single one of these Anakins means I need a netherite ingot, which is very expensive. I'm just having a look over these to see if like any of the other ones suit. For example, how does this look? Just make sure that I don't actually use it. Yeah, you can't really see it. Alright, well I guess we're now going to use a full netherite block's worth of these ingots to just make armor. This is where I spend all my diamonds and all my netherite. It's ridiculous. Okay, I'm doing it. This is painful. This is very painful. But of all the scenes that we're going to do throughout this whole series, this is probably the most important. So I think it's worth it. Yeah, it just looks so much better. I mean, honestly, the Vex... Nah. No, I've messed up. Oh, I've just used one of my things. Oh no, what have I done? I think that's the worst one to get as well. It's the one in the woodland mansion and I just used it. I'm so stupid. Oh, I didn't make enough. No. Guess it looks like we're going for a bit of a journey now. Because I already need some more. I need them for Obi-Wan. Ah, oh, that is ridiculous. I can't believe I've done that. Oh, I can't believe this. I'm distraught about this. I think I need to start keeping a backup of all of them. Luckily, I know I can get a new one because the woodland mansion that I got it from before was outside of the chunks that I cleared, so it should be reset anyway. I can't remember where it is. I'll have to go back to my video to find the exact coordinates. But for now, I'm just going to check a few of them on the way. You know what? It's super annoying because I've been delaying doing these armor stand scenes because I'm nervous about how they're going to come out and if I can even do it properly. And I finally sat down to gather the stuff and I'm on the last step of making the armor and then that's it. I would have started doing the scenes and I've done this. And I can't even do the first scene because I need that trim for Obi-Wan's clothes. Whoa, this is super weird. Look at this. Where the beach matches with the savannah, the grass is like half coloured in blocks. That's pretty cool. I'm sure it's probably just like a visual glitch or something, the way the stitching works. I don't really know, but very interesting still. Okay, the first mansion. Let's see, can we just get it in this one, please? Please do not long out my day. Yes, first one and I got it. Oh, thank goodness for that. You know what? I'm not even going to bother with the rest of this place. Oh, that's a relief, because I cannot believe I just did that. Well, while I'm out and about, actually, I mentioned in the last episode that I can start doing the advancements, and, well, here's a parrot, so there you go. Is it a bird? I just nearly died there. I didn't have my hand on the keyboard. I didn't expect to hit the vine and just drop. That was a bit weird. Well, I was expecting that to take a lot longer than the 15 minutes that it just did, so I'm really happy that was very quick. So, okay, I'm not going to mess it up this time. There we go. I have 9 and I have 1 extra. Big hit on my diamonds though. Now, Obi-Wan's is a bit more unfortunate. We need a true brown for these trims because this is just not good enough. But perhaps if I do something like this, then the white will look a bit better. Yeah, I think we're just going to have to ignore the fact that he's got a brown underlay because this just doesn't quite suit, and having it on here as well, I think this is better. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. And then maybe some light brown shoes. Yeah, there we go. I think that'll do. It's kind of like a tan brown. It's a bit of a weird colour, but I think it does the job. Now, there is one more outfit that I have forgotten about, so we need one for Padme. Now she has this kind of strap, which when I'm looking at it, I guess this is probably the most accurate, or see, this is kind of wrong and this is inverted. It should be this, but the other way around. And it also needs a line across the middle, but I don't think we're going to be able to get that. I am not doing that again. There is no way. Forget about it. I am being very careful with these now. Right, I think this is right. And then we'll take some white trousers, and then we need brown boots. And again, it's the brown colour. I think for her this will work, but in general, I want a better brown for the trims. Yeah, I'm not happy with the brown. I need a darker brown, but there's nothing else I can do. So I guess that is that done. So I've gone through and placed down all of the armor stands in the positions that we're going to want them. And I have actually done a couple of the scenes here. This one was really tricky actually. I had to do some weird redstone to get this to work because it kept double pulsing due to the way note blocks work. But if we come up here, you'll see. Now this is probably the worst out of all the armor stand scenes. But it doesn't quite line up, but from some other camera angles it does look like it. So we can obviously get this going. And it's just one swipe. And yeah, I really didn't have a lot of space back here. I managed to fit in 4. I had to change this part here to a dispenser with a powdered snow in order to get that to work. But it's only 4 books that I could fit in this pillar. The other option was just having like a floating platform and I could do more books. But then that wouldn't really work, would it? It wouldn't look very good for the scene. So yeah, I think that will do for that part. Although it is... Whoa, hang on. What's going on here? Why am I bouncing? Right, although it is one of the cool scenes where they're hanging down fighting, I can probably loop that a couple of times. We'll see. I mean, you guys already saw how it came out in the shot, so at least now you know how that part works. These ones should be easier because I can actually fit it underneath the lava, kind of like the scenes that I've done up here. So I've done a couple up here, and you'll see, obviously you've watched this already, but yeah, hang on. We press that and we've got Padme being choked here. Anakin's kind of looking away, and these ones go twice due to being a button. And obviously with this, you know, we can stand here, look over the shoulder shot, we can kind of zoom in, and yeah, we'll be doing something along those lines with the camera angles. Obviously we've got the scene in the hallway, which is the big redstone contraption that I mentioned before. I have noticed a slight issue in that they're kind of a bit too close together. I hope that's going to work out okay, but I guess we'll deal with that because this was my big redstone project for this, and I really hope that works. Of course, in this area we have plenty of space for the books, so we're going to do a few scenes. We've got them out here on the corridor, then we have one in the corner here where they're going to be swiping down into this station here. And of course they're going to be doing the spin scene here. I think we can probably separate these guys out a bit more like this. Just give them a bit of space. So yeah, this one should be fine because we have space up here, plenty of space, and we also have space down here. And you'll see I put some firefly bushes in there because I have a little bit of an idea of how to do this scene over here. And the last scene that I will need to do is the one on the cables over here, and again I really hope this reaches. It might be too much, which would be very unfortunate. And of course the ending scene, as you would have seen on the clip earlier, but you've got the Anakin cut down here laying on the floor. It's a bit difficult to get that to work, but I think it does the job. Now for this part I am gonna... Ooh, give me my rocket back. What are you doing? Oh, for goodness sake. As I was trying to say, for this part I am probably going to have to do this one manually. So we're going to start off with the normal head, and then we will just change it ourselves into the burnt head. And yeah, that would just be a bit of camera work. The only like non-armor standy thing that I've done where I do it myself. I swear it has been raining every blooming Minecraft day. I don't understand. I just stop raining for like one day please, and let me just get on with these arm stands. It's so annoying. Okay, so that should be the fire scene done, and it should slowly creep up over him. It's not the best. The campfire is the only decent fire I could do because honestly if I used like actual fire. I could use fire charges on like a Netherrack. The problem would be they would burn the armor stand, and then I just have this little reset button here to put him out, and then we can just go in and swap out the head and do that again, and then we'll do like a little cut in the scene, and that should achieve the effect. Now you may have noticed with some of these armor stands I am going to be doubling up on the animations, and that's because, to be honest, you have limited space. The book only works within like 7 to 5 blocks away in each direction, and it is what it is. It's unfortunate because the redstone obviously takes up some of that space, so you can only do so much, and I think the one that I built in here is about the best that I could possibly do. The only reason this one can have so many is because they're moving along, but yeah, like having it this compact, is basically every other block is a item frame, so that's about as good as I can get. So this is how we go about it. We do one book, we pop back up here, we move something like his head slightly on the Y, and then we can maybe put it down a little bit, maybe straighten up one of his legs, just give it a little bit more movement, body slightly turned. Then we have to fly into this hole again, put the next book, although I forgot I need to copy, so we check target, and we go into the copy page, copy that, and now we go down here and we place the second book, and then you'll see when I flick this lever there is a little bit of movement, but we'll have to do a lot more books to get that full movement going. And then we do the next bit of the head, and maybe this time the right leg, put that back a little bit, put the body a few more degrees to the side, check target, and then we copy. And of course, once I do all of the books, then I am going to have to test it, and then I might have to then go and basically redo one of the books, which is extremely annoying to do, and it becomes nighttime so quickly on this game. I'm seriously getting bored of it. And after this scene I still have another 8 scenes to do, so hopefully the video is going to be like a decent length. I mean, you've already watched it, I don't even know how it's going to turn out yet. I have been working away at these scenes, and my goodness, this is taking forever. So we've done the one up here. It's a little bit difficult to reach the lever for it because it's back here, but it won't matter because I'm actually going to take all of the clips when I'm in the flashback mod rather than me doing it from me in the game. That way I can actually turn my character off. And you can see it's a short one for this. We've done all of the scenes down in the lava river. So we have the scene here where Anakin's standing on the small droid opposite Obi-Wan, and there we go, that scene's all working, and it's longer than I thought it was. Then we have the scene over here where they're both on the same droid, and this one's got quite a little cool thing going on with it. It's got the sweep going below and Anakin kind of dodging, and then they go into a few hits. And both of these scenes that I just showed you, they are quite simple. Let me just turn on the Fulbright. So there we go, you can see just a bunch of books really. I had to come up with a little bit of a different method to get these two sides closer together, so we've got the actual observers coming from below rather than the repeaters going along this line here. And the same thing over here, we just got the books on either side. Then we have these scenes on the hillside here, so this is obviously you underestimate my power, and Obi-Wan here saying, I've clicked the wrong button. Obi-Wan is here saying, it's over Anakin, I have the high ground. And then we've got Anakin here doing his hilarious but really cool little leap. This is the best I can do because you can't actually move the armor stands, but I love how it looks. And then we have some reset buttons here just to put those back to the original positions. And then this was quite difficult to get it working. I tried a few different methods, but this is probably one of my favorite parts of this scene. I wasn't sure if I would be able to do this, but look at that. He comes flying up and he gets chopped in half, and then we've got a reset button here as well. So we'll just reset them both, and then it just flings him back into that position. I did just notice he did die a little bit quicker than he was supposed to there, so let me just try that again. There we go, yeah, it's on point with Obi-Wan. But I think that looks really cool. Considering it's the armor stands and it's Minecraft, that's about the best I can do. And then the other scene we have here is Obi-Wan just kind of looking away, can't bear to look at Anakin as he's being burned. And these two aren't linked together. That one I had to get the timing right for because they're both going to be in the same shot. But these two here and these two over there, they're not actually linked together because I didn't need to, because it's different camera angles. But yeah, so then you've got Anakin down here with his Sith eyes, and the flames slowly engulf him. I can probably change that so it doesn't go over double, but I actually quite like it. I don't mind that. And there's no animating of him actually moving his arms or anything, because these two armor stands are so close together. I think it will just affect the one with the campfire. So yeah, we just got that quite basic there. This one is not done yet, and this one I'm going to do last because I've been doing the other scenes just to make sure I can get this correct, because that's probably the one I put the most work into. Then we have them up on the little cable here, and if I just flick this lever, these guys, you can see they're kind of wobbling about after they do a little swipe. And that leaves me with essentially 4 more fights to go. So we've got 1 here on this balcony. We've got the 2 inside here, which this one I'm looking forward to doing because this is the Obi-Wan spin. It'll be quite funny. So we're really close now to actually making the scene, putting it together, and I'm really looking forward to doing that. But let's just take a quick look inside here for the slime block. So you can't see properly, but there's basically an observer in here, and I had to do a little setup because for some reason if I turn this to the side that way and I use torches, it works, but torches coming towards me, they didn't work, so I had to do an observer setup. And then we just have a few things here, like this Link's background here, and this is where we have the book for Anakin getting chopped down, and this is the reset book for Anakin to send him back into his little jumping position. And then, you know, we just have a bunch of books up here as well for Obi-Wan. It was quite tricky fitting all this in, and I do also need to cover this up with slabs, otherwise it's going to affect my farm down here, but I'll do that in a bit. And for now I just want to get on with these last 4 scenes up the top up here. I have finally finished all of the books. I'm super happy about this. You will notice that some of these screens are missing, and there's a reason for that. I've got them in here. This one was actually getting affected by the books over here and changing its position, which was then obviously taken away from the scene. And these 3 were actually fine, and these 2 are fine. You can see I haven't taken them off. The problem is I'm going to be putting my super smelter in here, so 1, I wouldn't be able to place blocks, so I needed to remove them, and 2, I have a feeling that if you come through here, I've got the Fulbright on just to show you this, there is some sticky pistons and stuff going on back here for a shortcut unloader, so I think they're probably going to get pushed around, and I'll have to basically build the super smelter and then put them back and see if they're within the hitboxes of those. The other thing is, you'll see these books, I did have 24 stacks of books, so I think it's like 382 books, or I think 282 books that I've used for all of these scenes, so it's been a very large project. So we have the scene on the outside, which is these guys up here, and to do that I've really struggled to fit it in because this is so close to the wall. But yeah, we have this line here where the books come along here, and then technically this isn't connected, but it doesn't need to be because both sides are the same delay, so when it comes back here these 2 also activate. And then we have this delay going up into the top part, which then does the exact same thing. So we managed to get 12 books for each stand in this corner. The reason why I have all the redstone over here is just because this is the space I had, because I needed the space for the scene by the door entrance. So these guys here swiping down, they don't have as many books, they only have 6 I think. So yeah, we really struggled to find the space because they're so close to the other 2 stands, so we had to make sure it was within their range and not the other ones. So we have 4 going along the bottom, then we just have 2 going along the top, and before any of that activates it will turn off this. That's why there's such a delay on this one. Firefly bushes, they're great and they give great particles, but for these armor stand scenes they're not really working out because they need to be on for a longer time before you start to see them. And then for the final scene in this room, which is the spin that Obi-Wan and Anakin do, and then also there is another scene where, well, it's part of the same scene, but another section where they have a couple of hits and then they do the force and push each other and fly back, as you can tell from their positions. So we have this going along here with 12 books on each side, pretty similar to the one in the corner. I just left a gap in between the 2. And then we have this little repeater clock to keep this going so that we can actually repeat the loop of the spins. It's not the perfect timing. I really wish I'd done a different hole, but you know, we'll just do one right here and I'll show you how that works. So this is on a lever, so when you flick this lever they should start spinning, and then you'll see there it stops and then it starts again. I can probably remove like 1 tick of delay from the chain. Let's just try that quickly actually. Let's just say if we remove 2, what happens? Yeah, it still seems like there's a bit of a pause. I wonder if I remove 1 more. Yeah, I think that's a lot better. I probably should have done that for the scene, but unfortunately I've actually recorded the whole scene already now, so That's a bit annoying. As you can see, that will just keep looping back round, which will allow them to keep spinning. And then we just have two final scenes up the top here, which I'll show you quickly, which this is for the force push, and there's two levers here just for consistency rather than just having one lever. But you'll see, there you go, they do the little force push there, and that will only activate once every time I flick the lever. And we also have this set up here with some observers for a little powdered snow, which will just drop through there, and that's just for the scene where they slice down into this little station, and it will just drop from back here, so when we're doing the recording you won't even see the powdered snow up there. That leaves the final scene, the biggest scene and probably my favourite scene, which is the corridor scene. And look at these guys fighting in this corridor. I managed to make it work by separating them a little bit, and the timings sort of just worked. I think the first book doesn't actually work for Obi-Wan, but that's fine. And you'll see, obviously we've got the powdered snow coming down as well, because they're slicing through all of the walls here. Now if we come down here, I'll show you exactly how all this works. First, when you press the button, this redstone block will get pushed down by these slime blocks, which will go into this here, and it will also go across there, and it will come round here. So we have three lines essentially. So this one down here will turn on this redstone torch behind, which will activate this line here, and then this repeater will go into these ones and these ones. These two lines go up, so this will stay on, and each time this decreases in signal, this gets an update, so that will just give lots of updates going up into this observer chain, all the way up here into a piston, which will then push the, I can't find it, there you go, which will push the observer up into the second observer, and that will just essentially keep pulsing this, which is how you see the powdered snow keeps dropping down. And obviously we have two of those, this one having a bit more delay than this one, so that it activates in line with the characters moving along, and it was a bit of experimenting to get that timing correct. We also have a very large slime block flyer machine, or slime block and honey block flyer machine here, and this is in segments, so it will just move along and bring the characters along. As you can see, there's two honey blocks on top of here which are holding the characters in place. I did try experimenting with some slabs, but the only way to do it would be to completely separate them, and then they do move around and it would be a lot harder for the books. The honey blocks kept them in place. I also did try putting carpets on top of this. Unfortunately, having two carpets was too much for the flyer machine. I could only have one. Now in hindsight I could have still put one to cover one of them up, but I thought it looked quite cool with the honey blocks to show you guys what's going on really. And to activate this we just have this line here, so a bit of a delay coming in, so allowing the firefly bushes over here to activate. I don't think I can get inside of there, but yeah, we've got some firefly bushes in here. That's really not that great, to be honest. I like the particles from the fireflies, but they just take too long to activate, and they're very like minimal, you don't notice them. The powdered snow was much more effective. But yeah, so this will be delayed, turns on or off this, then the comparator changes, and because it's moved you can't actually see where it lines up, but this observer will be next to this. And then the final bit of redstone for the activation is the books here. Now this was the first time I came up with this design, and of course if you actually watched Zazuma's video, then you'll notice that he says, I think it's like 8 ticks before the book can re-change the position. Now that is a setting that you have to turn on. I had that difficulty when I first started using the books, and you actually can choose. So because mine's not a server with other people to worry about, I set mine to like 2 ticks, so that's why I can do this repeater setup. This wouldn't actually work for them, but yes, we just have this 4 ticks each one, and the observers activate after 4 ticks, and then each of these is 2 ticks. And where I've had to extend this signal, there's actually 1 tick on each, but it's still 2, and then we have 9 of these going across, so that's 18 books for each character. And you can see this is slightly offset by 1, that's so these are for Obi-Wan and this is for Anakin, and it was really tricky getting all of this to work with the timings of the flyer machine, but I'm so happy it worked, because that is such a cool scene. There is also one more piece of redstone down here which I can show you right now how that activates, if I can get out. So we just hit this note block, and if I can do it quick enough, you'll see these pistons activate, which starts the flyer machine, because in order to get it to go back you have to push them in order, and then once it activates it will fly the rest of the way itself. I did it this way because that's quite slow to activate, and I wanted the immediate activation for the scene so that they just go across, rather than being like halfway across before the actual speed kicks in. So yeah, you can see there's a lot of these lines. This observer chain comes from this note block, which just goes along here, activates this one, activates this one, activates this one, and then finally it activates the one on this side, because to get it to go over this wouldn't work because this line block would pull it, so that's why we go underneath and we have this go to the other side to activate this one. And then finally this trapdoor will activate, starting the whole system and pushing it back to the start. I don't know why there's a block there. I mean, that can stay for now, I guess. But that is all of the scenes finished. I'm so happy, and I edited the scene and I've done everything, and I've seen it now myself as well, and I really liked it. But I don't know, you guys tell me what you think of that scene, because really it's subjective. I think it looks very much like a Lego Star Wars cutscene from one of the games. But I really enjoyed it. It was somewhat, had the feel of the importance of the scene, but also it had a little bit of comedy in there. And yeah, I'm really happy with how it came out. But that means on to the next one, and the next one of these scenes is going to be Darth Maul against Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon on Naboo, because Naboo is the next island we will be working on, and that's another great scene to do, so I'm really looking forward to that. But for now, this island is almost finished. We have 2 things left to do, and I think the super smelter we're going to do next episode, because it is a massive project, it is very large, and I've got a little bit of timings to work out for the fuel, just to make the fuel work properly. So now we're going to jump to doing the final vehicle for this area, and actually the final vehicle for these islands, to be honest. So yeah, let's get on with the building of that, and we'll see how it looks next to all of this.
I sense Lord Vader is in danger. He's still alive.
Yes, and that is Palpatine's ship coming in to pick up Anakin after he's lost the fight to Obi-Wan. And yeah, that really went quite quickly actually, doing all of Mustafar. But that is the outside all finished up. We just have the super smelter left, but like I say, that's going to take a long time, so we'll probably do that next episode. And we have a couple more bits. We never actually finished up Endor, because we have some little surprises coming up in the next episode. I did mention them quite a while ago now, but yeah, we're going to have to get to that. But that will be all for today's episode. I really hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you liked the way that Mustafar is looking. Thank you very much for watching, and may the Force be with you always.